All right. Hey, everyone. Thanks for listening. I'm really excited because we have Chris Meyers here today. She is the CEO and I believe also founder, right, of eCatalyst Healthcare Solutions. She's actually working on several projects right now, which you're going to hear all about, and some really kind of exciting things with celebrities. So we can't wait to hear all about that too. But first, before we jump into sort of the nitty gritty of your companies and your leadership at those companies, I'd love to just hear a little bit more about your path, Chris, if you don't mind sharing with us.
Thanks, Melissa, and hello, everyone. It's nice to meet you. Um, I founded eCatalyst Healthcare Solution in 2007. I was a administrative director at Banner Health prior to founding eCatalyst. Found myself, probably like many of you, feeling that like I wasn't going to go anywhere as fast as I wanted to, working for a company. Always kind of had that entrepreneurial spirit. And so I left, corporate America. I wrote a business plan, left corporate America, and luckily I was able to get Banner as my first client.
Oh,
um,
nice.
so that doesn't always happen, but I was very fortunate for that to happen for me. And so I started out as just me being an independent consultant, and today eCatalyst Healthcare Solutions has over 100 employees. And
Wow.
so
I didn't know
we
you were that big.
grew
Tremendous.
organically, and so that's kind of how we started.
That's exciting. And so how did you know that you weren't really for the corporate world or the corporate world wasn't for you? What
Um,
was missing?
Yeah, good question. What happened to me was that I opened Banner Estrella Hospital in the Northwest Valley of Phoenix, and we were way ahead from a technology and electronic health record perspective. We had really smart people working on the project. We were Banner Health's hospital for the future, and so we were looking, 15, 20 years into the future about what we needed to do. And so we created these great processes. I spoke nationally on distributed document capture so that the patient's medical record could be paperless at the patient's bedside.
Wow.
And so we were so far out in front of it that had I stayed, I just kind of felt like I was, we were going to have to try to get all Banner's 20 hospitals up and going. And that wasn't as exciting as, creating the future of healthcare. And so we toured people all the time from all over the world, and they'd pull me aside and say, "Do you do consulting on the side?" So I just decided to write a business plan and went out on my own. And I thought at the time that if I could do it for a year, have my own business for a year and go out and meet interesting people and learn new perspectives and things like that, that I would consider it a success. So I set a pretty low bar.
Right. Yeah. Right. Well, hey, I mean, just sort of like you have to kind of go like this, right, in terms of your goals, I
Right.
think, in meeting them. And I know you're trained as a healthcare professional, I believe, healthcare provider, but do you also have a technical background? Because I think, all three of your companies really have to do with technology or would be considered technology companies.
Right. Well, my background is in health information management. And
Mhm.
so, as I don't have a degree in technology, but I love technology, when it works like everyone else.
Right.
um, but no, it's just something that I'm very interested in and always embraced. When medical records were paper and we were running around trying to find them for providers to document and do things, I used to think there's just got to be a better way. And when the industry moved to electronic health records, I was just all over it. I was an early adopter and just loved the technology piece of that. And I've just always kind of tried to keep in front of that, what's happening from a technology perspective.
And it just made me think. I would make up that a big part of what your job has been and is to actually help with mindset around. Oops, looks like we might have lost Facebook. Just a second. Let me see if we can come back. We're just talking about how technology fails. That's hilarious.
Right.
All
Right.
right. Let me see if I can do this simultaneously. Be patient with us, everyone. All right. Okay. I've been having this funny thing with a new laptop that Chrome crashes.
Oh, no.
So that's, I guess, what's happening right now. Okay, let me try this again, get you back in there. Okay, we should be back. All right. Okay. There we go. All right. Hopefully we're back in. It looks like we are. All right, we'll just keep going and we'll see how it goes. All right. So what I was about to say was, I'm guessing that what part of what you do is also have to work with mindset, right? In terms of getting people to adopt technology and to adopt new practices with your products and services. So say a little bit about that. Like how is it moving from sort of a one mindset to another, right?
Right.
Especially
Providers, physicians and PAs, when electronic health records first came out, they were not all of them were excited about the technology. And quite frankly, they're still not thrilled about it. I mean, it makes their life a little bit easier, but it had very serious unintended consequences. And that was that, you go to the doctor's office right now, and a lot of them are typing the first 25 minutes you're there, right? Getting the history and physical, doing those type of things. Doctors bring documentation home at night. We have stories of, doctors, wives filing or husbands filing for divorce because on the weekends, all they do is catch up on their charting and things like that. So it's a hard thing. Now, a lot of them will tell you they won't go back because they can look at patient information on their phone and on their tablet and do electronic physician order entry and those things, that a lot of things make their life easier, but the documentation piece of it is very, very hard. And that's really how Med Claims Compliance, the second company that I'm involved in, came about, and we solved that problem.
Yeah, say a little bit more about that company too.
The company was founded by John Bright. He was a past creator of physician office electronic health records. And he realized that these unintended consequences that I was just speaking about of the electronic health record. And so we've been at this for a couple years now, developing the Med Claims Compliance product. And what it's ultimately become is a compliance program for Medicare and payers. So we put a electronic device in the room, and the encounter is we have AI and natural language processing takes the voice and converts it to discrete data elements in text, and we populate the medical record with what happened. Once we capture that data, we assign ICD-9s and CPT and E&M codes to that account. That's what the World Health Organization uses to classify disease and procedures. They use the ICD classifications, and that's what payers use to pay claims, track disease, those type of things. And so we assign those codes and send that data directly to the payer. Because what happens is there's thousands of these codes, they change frequently, they vary by payer. And so if you're a provider in a physician office and you're trying to keep up with just all the things that you have to keep up with from a health perspective, from a practicing medicine perspective, and then you have to be a coder and you have to document and you have to type. So we take all of those things off the table for the provider.
That's terrific. And that company, if I understood correctly, you just got the opportunity to be part of Ted Danson's project, which is going to be then aired on Amazon Prime, or
it's called the Advancement Series.
Yeah.
We're filming on the 16th of December, a couple weeks, and we're very excited about it. We are talking to Health and Human Services. We've been in contact with them because what happens is that when providers assign those codes, a lot of times they're assigning the wrong ones, and it's considered Medicare fraud. So they have a short visit, but they coded a longer visit, and so it eats into the Medicare trust fund, if you will. And so that's why we should all care about it, because this, we're not penalizing anyone. It's just we're coding it correctly, because we have the data, we have the information. And so they're really interested in that to save money and improve patient care, because, this much information is shared during a doctor's office visit, but they're only going to put this much into the medical record. We're going to capture that whole encounter. So it's very, very exciting.
Yeah, that's so comprehensive. And so the advancement series, is that advancement in technology, advancement in healthcare, or advancement in anything? And that's what they...
in anything. It's not it's just not healthcare.
Oh, and so great.
Yeah, so we're very excited. I think I'm going to have a little tiny part, which I'm kind of comfortable with. But so it's very exciting. John Bright will do a great job. He's a real evangelist for this product. We're also talking to people like the VA. And what happens is when a provider is not spending so much time documenting, they can spend more time on actual patient care, looking the patient in the eye, hands-on with the patient. And our vets really, really need that. And so we're really hoping to keep moving forward with the Veterans Administration.
Well, that's where the third company comes in, right?
Yeah, so my husband happens to be a veteran. He is a former F-16 pilot and retired colonel, and has a passion for helping people in the military. So he's starting a company that will be designated a veteran-owned business to service these med claims compliance type clients for VA or any other government payer. So we're very excited about that. It's a little hard to take a single seat fighter pilot and teach them how to be nice to people and interact with people. That's the kind of that's kind of not their strongest point, but he's an amazing guy and has seen kind of what, he's been there right with me with eCatalyst Healthcare Solutions. And so we're excited to kind of have these pair companies. I should be in a couple days getting my woman-owned business designation. So we're really excited about that. Don't ask me why we didn't do it years ago. Just one of those things. It was on the list.
Right.
So we're really excited. A lot of exciting things. The new company is called RevNow. The exciting thing about med claims compliance and what RevNow will be doing is that we have large financial institutions who are willing to pay providers within 24 hours of submitting the claim, because it's a clean claim, if you will. We capture everything that happened. We assign the appropriate codes for reimbursement, and so those who go on the product, who use the product, can get reimbursed within 24 hours. And now providers can wait up to 3 months to get reimbursed for their office visits. So It's really a win-win.
Yeah, I could imagine that might be really great, especially for smaller offices or for doctors who have limited staff to even take care of all that paperwork for them.
Even large healthcare companies, like a Banner Health or a Sutter or large what they call them IDNs. Right now they're hurting with cash flow because of COVID. They've shut hospitals down. Now they're back up. Now they're weaning off because, they're anticipating, COVID rates increasing again. So cash flow is a real problem for them. And so when they own big group practices, they can enjoy the same type of reimbursement within 24 hours, which helps them live their mission.
Cash flow and so forth. Yeah, absolutely. That makes sense. So because our audience, right, at Recreate are looking at possibly starting nonprofits, charities, businesses, I think it could be interesting to hear a little bit about what was your path like in starting eCatalyst Healthcare Solutions. Was it hard? Was it easy? Did you know anything about it? Did you not? What was that like?
Yeah. Well, unfortunately, I did not have a recreate to help me along the way. And I think that's kind of where this conversation kind of started with Melissa is that, I really did it on my own. I left corporate America, a good job, a good pay, and everything. And the first day that I sat at my home office, with eCatalyst Healthcare Solution, my dog's looking at me like, don't you have to go to work? Like, and I felt like that a little bit. I had some clients lined up, one of them was Banner Health. But I didn't have kind of that infrastructure like you have. You have your, the things built into your system with the funding groups and your smaller your education sessions and the smaller breakout groups. I didn't have that expertise. I didn't have, people to talk to bounce ideas off of. And
Even a sales funnel, right? Sales funnels is like the last thing people think about.
Absolutely. I didn't have formal sales training. I had to sit there and figure out how to, write my first contract. I had a couple, that I had used at the hospital, got a lawyer, got a contract, learned how to do, pitch decks and, really did all of that on my own. And I think in looking back, the hard part was, not everybody has an entrepreneurial spirit. Right. And people, are just fearful of risk, they're risk adverse. And so, I would tell people, I think I'm going to go for that. I want to, we're making this much money. I'm going to invest in this and do that. And they say, why don't you just go back to being at the hospital? Just safer, and just because that's what people know and feel comfortable with. And so it would have been really helpful to have something like Recreate, where it was more like-minded people, to if you're going in a great direction, help you out, going in that direction. Like you guys can give people so many resources and things like that, or say, you may want to think about that. Here's an alternative way to look at that, or that might be more risk than you want to take on right now. Or, people find if they go down that path, here are some of the pitfalls. And so, so my path was I kind of did it on my own. There was a couple big things that happened in healthcare that created opportunities for large projects within big healthcare systems. And so we were lucky, competed against people like PwC and Deloitte, and got quite a few of their, those accounts away from them, which was a, personal success, and one that really made me realize that there was no competitor I couldn't go against. It was a smaller, firm. And so
that's a big deal.
Yeah. So, you have to be fearless if you're going to start your own company. You have to have that confidence and really be fearless to take risks. A lot of things I tried, didn't work out, and then you pivot, but you learn from those things. So we grew organically like that, taking on another project. And one of the things that we really focused on was building partnerships with our clients, really being there for them. So we would go in with one scope of work, do a great job, show our commitment to their success, support them. And they'd say, hey, we have this going on over here. Can you guys do that? And, the answer is never no. So of course we can. And luckily I was pretty well connected so that I call people, hey, do you know somebody who does that? Sure. So I'd hire them, get them on board, get them working on another project. So you just really have to look for opportunities and connect with the right people to make it happen.
Well, you said something interesting just now, the well-connected piece. Were you well-connected when you were in the corporate world? Did you know, or did that happen intentionally? Is it just from the industry you're in or your personality? How is well-connected? How did you get well-connected?
I actually thought I was more well-connected than I probably was, if I'm being honest. I mean, it's easier to meet people when you're a CEO, right? You can connect with people easier on LinkedIn. They'll take your connection, those type of things. I did a lot of public speaking, edited a book on the electronic health record documentation components. So, I was connected, but I don't think you can ever be, over connected.
Yeah. And then do you continue to keep those relationships warm? Do you reach out on a regular basis, or do you connect with people regularly? Or is there just sort of an understanding that you all know each other and that you can reach out, like, I think that's interesting, because a lot of women say to me, particularly women, gosh, do I have to keep this relationship going, so that they know that, I'd like to do something for them, or and also I'd like to ask them from something, right? Or for something from them.
Yeah.
Uh,
I think it depends on, I think there's categories. There's people that, I think need to be reached out to more often to feel connected. And then I have CEO friends that if I reach out to them once or twice a year, or they reach out to me, we're still connected, or we're connected on LinkedIn, or we share information or things like that. So I think you have to look at, I think that's an individual thing for a lot of people. And what I find is, people are like, well, I just assume you're busy. I think that's like a curse, because I am really busy. But I still have time to do things. I still like to connect with people, have a lunch, or a dinner, meeting, or attend, think tank type groups, things like that. But people assume you're busy and don't always reach out. So I try to let people know that I'm open to that. I'm not available every day, every night. And of course, we're not doing anything right now.
Right. Which makes it really tricky, especially building relationships with clients, as we talked about before we went live here. It's a different dynamic building these relationships over Zoom or phone or whatever, not being able to meet people in person, for sure. Well, it's interesting because when I met you, we were in a room full of CEOs, and you completely stuck out like a shining star, because you're, like, in a very positive way. Yes, because you're so approachable, but you're also not afraid to be vulnerable. Like, you share true stories about what you're challenged by. And then you also aren't afraid to talk about successes, which I think is just a wonderful quality, that you're so balanced that way. And then it just made it very easy to come up to you and be like, hey, I'd love to connect with you more and hear more about what you're doing. And then to continue to think about you for whatever it is, if it's referrals, or if it's just, for this interview, or whatever ways that I can support your businesses. And so it's just, I think that's really important, for people to know that quality of being vulnerable, approachable, and open, right, to connecting to new people, is, I think, an enormous strength. I think we shouldn't underestimate it. So
thank you. You're too kind.
it was
Sometimes
great.
I feel like I never shut up, right?
Oh no.
Most CEOs were mostly male, so they weren't conversational.
Well, okay, maybe there's that too. Maybe there's that.
I think it was easy to stand out.
Maybe that's true. So it's really been fun to hear about the companies you're working on. You've worked on for years, and then also starting anew. Anything else that's coming up in the immediate future or long term that you want to share or talk about that you're excited about?
Maybe retirement. No, I'm joking.
Maybe.
Yeah. No, but at my age, I have to think about that. And so, so I've been trying to join boards. So I'm on the board of a community college that teaches health information management here in Arizona. I'm on the Foundation for Blind Children, which is a great, amazing charity that I'm so really, really grateful to be a part of. And I'm on the board of Med Claims Compliance and my own eCatalyst board. So, I really am hoping to, I'm really hoping to give back in that way. I think that, upon retirement, it would be fun to participate in those boards. And I really encourage everyone to seek board positions. They need more women on boards, across the country. And it's very, very fulfilling. It's a great way to network. And especially if you go down that, kind of charity route in the beginning, really, really fulfilling. eCatalyst, we spend, we're kind of a middle revenue cycle company. So we do coding and billing, and all of my team is remote. So, so it's great to be on boards that you can connect with people and really feel like we're making a difference. That giving back core value that we have at eCatalyst is kind of hard when I have people all over the United States. So because of COVID, there's a lot of people who are having a hard time feeding themselves, right? A lot of hunger in the United States right now. And so we've encouraged all of our team to donate to food banks. Like that's what we're doing as a group. So in the future is doing more of those type of things,
Yeah.
on boards, and hopefully really moving eCatalyst and RevNow and MCC forward.
Love that. Well, it's been amazing because with Recreate, that was our intention. We just know that, especially when you get to a certain age, it's really about meaning and purpose and making an impact. And that's where, Kim Miles, my business partner, she's the one who, we always say she's the woo-woo one, right? And the fun one, and I'm more of the cerebral one. And so she's like, create a better life, create a better world. And so this is her tagline, and I love it now, right? But it wouldn't have been something that would be natural for me to say, but it's so true. And I think I love that you emphasize that point, that if that's what we really want to do, it's sort of in the rest of our life, right? The rest of our time here on the planet. Why not be able to do that in a way that that is meaningful, makes impact, but then also could be prosperous for ourselves and our families and our teams and the people who we can get involved in the project. And personally, I want to see great companies like yours grow in the Phoenix area too, or region, because I want to keep sourcing great talent here and keeping it here, right? So that we really become a resilient economy, like instead of fragile, to use Michael Crow's words, and then hopefully anti-fragile in the future. So I feel like all that's just on the horizon, and at Recreate, hopefully will be the catalyst to help people do that. So it's really just such an honor and a pleasure to have you be here and for you to share your story and your business experience and what it was like for you. So thank you, Chris.
Well, thank you. It's an honor and privilege to be here, and good luck, everyone. And really leverage the type of services that Recreate can offer you, because like I said, I think I would be dominating my market had I had that infrastructure when I started my company. I don't regret anything, but I really think that it's important to leverage the resources that are at hand. So
yeah, very
thanks,
good.
everyone. Thanks, Melissa.
Yeah, thanks, Chris.
I really appreciate it. Bye.
Take care. Bye.